So we're going to go ahead and talk about this story about the man who left his kids at a McDonald's so that he can go to a job interview, allegedly, correct? Y'all, why is it said that there are inconsistencies and that he may be lying out here about what was going on? So here's the story. I got an article and I got some videos, but I'm going to just give you a little brief before we get into it. So here's the story. What people are saying is going on is this. All right. So you had this man. He had 3 kids, okay, by whoever the mom is. Okay. I have not seen her, whatnot. But we have heard about her and what it is that she was saying. We're going to get into all that. But you have this man who has 3 kids. He has no car and he currently has no job, it appears. Apparently, on this particular day that he left these kids in the McDonald's, okay, he went and had a job interview earlier that day, okay, at around 1. I wouldn't even call it a job interview because it was an informal interview is what they said. So apparently you have a McDonald's here and right next door to it is this West Bank Inn. That's where he went to go to fill out a job application, and then with the manager he had what he called an informal interview. Okay, of course the cops went and tried to verify the story, and then they said that the manager said of this West Bank Inn said, just so you know, yes, he was here earlier that day. He filled out a job application. I think he was only there for about 25 minutes or something. And they said that, yes, we did do an informal interview. And no, he was not likely to be called back for a formal interview. I'm not sure what he was wearing, or maybe it was what he was saying, or maybe his application wasn't as strong, or maybe his resume wasn't even present. Okay. But essentially he didn't get the job. Okay. And he said, yeah, we were not going to call him back anyway. So I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. But here's the thing that's going on. You had that interview earlier in the day. So that's not a lie or informal, whatever you want to call it. He had that earlier in the day. But at this time that he left his kids, there was no job interview. So then the question remains, and this is what I'm wondering, what were you doing? I'm thinking, because that means he would have had to been walking around for, 2 hours? And you can't tell me you just walking down the street for 2 hours. I'm thinking you were at someone's house doing some extracurricular activities. Meanwhile, your children were up in that McDonald's wondering where daddy at. Okay. So he allegedly gets arrested by the police because, it's child abandonment at that point. So then one of the kids go and say to the cop, because it was like, you were left here, yada, yada. The kid said, yeah, I went and called my mom. Apparently the mom came to the scene. But the kid also said, daddy does this often. Like, yeah, daddy, he tends to always leave us almost all the time. Often. Okay. Now, how often is often when you have the kid? I don't know. Okay. And what is the duration of it? We don't know. But what we do know is it happens often. Okay. So he's not I was just looking for a job. No one's seen that you were looking for a job. No one's seen that. Not that you even that you even had a job interview. We didn't even see that. Okay. So that's already a lie. I'm thinking he was with some other lady somewhere, wherever, I don't know, but somewhere he was with somebody else. That's no one's just walking around for 2 hours. Meanwhile, the kid's just chilling out in the McDonald's. You know what I mean? So, and then the fact that the kid said that you do it often. Okay. So that's all that's going on. Antonio Brown, I'm assuming he's former football player. He actually started a GoFundMe, all that kind of stuff. people's money is supposed to be getting refunded is what I hear the streets are saying out here. Okay, so that's all of what's going on, and people are feeling bamboozled because they feel as though they've been lied to about said situation. Who wants to be lied to about something like this? Okay, so let's go ahead and read this article first, and then we we'll get into the rest of the video. So what we see here, it says Georgia police finds inconsistencies in job seeking fathers' whereabouts after leaving kids at a McDonald's, or as some other people say, McDonald's or McDonald's. Okay, the Georgia father accused of leaving his 3 young children alone at a McDonald's while he went for a job interview was not looking for work at the time of his arrest, as police spotted inconsistencies over his whereabouts. Chris Lewis, who was charged with deprivation of a minor for the March 22nd fast food incident, left his 3 kids ages 1, 6, and 3 alone at the restaurant for about an hour and a half. Okay, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office said the 24-year-old was detained by police after they were unable to corroborate his whereabouts. That is a rough 24. Okay, I thought this man was like 36, and it was like 24. I said, you're younger than me. But anyways, Lewis told officials he had filled out an application at the West Bank Inn next door earlier in the day and was waiting for a callback. But they said that he had an informal interview. And I'm saying the manager of the West Bank Inn said he had an informal interview with them. And they said he was not likely to be called back. Okay. So this is what Chris Lewis looks like. Okay. It says police poked holes in Lewis's alibi when they went to the inn and spoke with an employee who confirmed that Lewis had filled out a job application around 1:30 p.m. but was not expecting any return call for an interview. Okay, for an interview. It says security footage captured Lewis walking around the hotel at 1:30 p.m. but not around 4:30 p.m. when he allegedly left his kids at said fast food restaurant to go back for an interview. So we seen you earlier in the day, but then now you said you had another interview with them after you've already did an informal interview earlier. So this is the real one. And then the manager said that didn't happen. So, and there was no, because you don't just come. You got to put that stuff on books. You know what I mean? You got to have email communication. So it was like, okay. 2 eagle-eyed customers saw the 3 kids inside the restaurant around 4:30 p.m. as Lewis talked to someone on the phone. The customers heard Lewis say that he needed to drop something off before he left the store and the unaccompanied kids for nearly 90 minutes. Okay, the unidentified customers reported the odd exchange to police. And apparently, allegedly, it was a book bag. This don't make sense to me, but let's continue. Lewis's oldest daughter, who told police she and her family had walked to the McDonald's from the Hendricks, from the Hendricks, an apartment complex less than a mile down the road. Okay, where the mother lived. So they lived over there. Like I said, he didn't have a car, so they lived over there. He picked the kids up, all 3 of them, and they walked. Obviously, the 1-year-old, but they walked all the way over to his McDonald's. He then dropped them off and then did whatever he did for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay. This is almost an hour and a half. So the girl allegedly claimed her father frequently left them alone when he was watching them. Now, my question is where? I can't see you always leaving them here. So where are you leaving your kids unattended? I don't know. The 10-year-old girl told officials her dad had a backpack and was supposed to deliver it to their mom. So you had a backpack. You picked your kids up, you dropped your kids off at McDonald's, and you're supposed to go right back over and deliver said backpack? I mean, what's in this backpack? Drugs? You know, I mean, what's in it? That money? What's in this backpack that is so important that you got to leave your kids unattended? And they're all minors. Her daughter contacted Pichardo over social media and told her to go to McDonald's to meet with the police. And told her to go to McDonald's to meet with the police. So the police already have been informed because, you know, passerbyers when it said, yo, something ain't right. Okay. And then it said that you contacted your mom over social media. Why do you not have your mom's cell phone? This whole story is odd to me because why do you not have your mom's number? Why are we contacting our mother via social media? Why do you not have her phone number to text her, to call her? Nothing. Something about this is odd to me. But let's continue. And says Pichardo, the mother, arrived at the restaurant at around 6:12 p.m. and called Lewis to get him to return. Lewis claimed he was at the apartments looking for her, but never did and couldn't deliver the bag. So he went. So this don't make sense, y'all. This doesn't make any sense. So it's my turn to watch the kids. Okay. I don't know if they're together. I'm assuming they're not. But it's my turn to watch the kids. I go to your apartment. I don't have a car. I go to your apartment. I pick up said kids. We now walk over to the Mickey D's. I leave them because apparently I had a backpack that I couldn't just give it to you when I was there. So now I have this backpack on. And then I told the police and everyone else that I had a job interview next door, which was a lie. And I still didn't give this backpack to you that would have only taken about 20 minutes, if that, complete, here, drop it off and then come back, which I don't understand why you didn't just do it when you were already there. And you still never did it. You nothing. And the kid's been around, been alone for an hour and a half. Something about this just don't make sense. Anyways, he said that he couldn't deliver the bag. During his delivery, Lewis reportedly lost his ID and another card and was retracing the steps in search of the missing card. So you were looking for... So you were at the McDonald's with your kids. You had an interview next door for this West Bank Inn, okay? And you obviously know that you didn't have one. But somehow, some way, your credit card and all that they just jumped right on out of your pockets and your wallet. Because you're saying you lost your ID in another card, which means that should have all been in your wallet. What's in your wallet? So that means your whole wallet should have been gone. But no, apparently your ID was just hanging out. Okay. I don't know anyone who does that, but okay. And then you said that you couldn't find it. So for an hour and a half, that's what you were looking for. And you didn't think to let your kids know, you know what, I'm coming back, or any of that. Or, hey, I lost my ID, my identification. Hey, Lisette, could you just go back and... No? Okay. All right. And it says the sheriff's office stood by the arrest, asserting on Wednesday that Lewis was not attending a job interview at the time of his arrest, while he did leave his small children unattended. Given the facts and timeline established through BWC footage, witness statements, and follow-up investigations, it was determined that a misdemeanor charge of deprivation of a minor was appropriate to ensure the welfare of the children and facilitate a review of the matter by the courts. Okay, so that's a side image of him. And it says that obviously it went viral, whatnot, that said that in 24 hours, a fundraiser made $75,000. Brown said he spoke to Lewis's girlfriend after the arrest, and she claimed they were homeless and he attended the job interview. So you're saying that they were homeless. Well, who was at the Hendricks apartment there? Or Hendricks or Herrick's? Who was at that apartment then? You said, yeah, we were homeless, because she said claimed that they were homeless, which it says Brown spoke to Lewis's girlfriend after. So girlfriends, that means current, after the arrest, and she claimed that they were homeless and he had attended the job interview. So you two are together. Well, I guess I'm a little confused. What are you doing? Were you working? I mean, is that what was going on? Were you working? Because if you were just chilling at the house, I don't get why you didn't just keep the kids while he did the job interview, if that's what it is that he was doing. That he was just gone for an hour and a half. This gives me that he is, I don't know, fucking around with somebody else and he ain't supposed to be doing it with. Okay? Because that's what I'm understanding from this, because this don't make any sense. Okay? And what was in this book bag, this backpack that we had, this satchel, this rucksack, if you will? What was up in here? I'm thinking drugs. I mean, it has to be. I mean, this bag was so important that we had to go and abandon our children. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and look at this real quick. And let's go look at some comments here. Then I got some videos I want to go and play. Okay, so one person said, I said yesterday that there is more to the story because most people don't go to a job interview at 4:30 on a Saturday. That's a good point. And his pick clearly says he never been to a job interview and never will be. They're not hard to figure out if you're honest with yourself, but people would rather believe fictional stories like in a commercial instead of acknowledging who they really are. And that's also another thing. If that's what you were wearing, baby, there's no wonder why you didn't get that job. Oh, so there's that. And there's no shade, but I don't. He didn't look like he was in job interview attire. Okay, that's all I'm saying. 24 and has a 10-year-old. That's what I caught too. I caught that too. I said, one, that's a rough 24. And two, that means you had a kid at 14. Okay. 24 and has a 10-year-old. Am I reading that correctly? If he was just trying to go and get a job interview, then I would have sympathy for the guy. However, if he was out doing a deal, then no, I have no sympathy for him. And the other shoe drops. 2 days ago, we gave him a pass. Now he has 75,000 GoFundMe, and he's not a good guy. We advanced him credit for. There's no way that any parent would think it's okay to leave a 1-year-old, not to mention the other two kids, alone in public space for hours. It was only a matter of time before the truth came out. Yes, hope the mom gets the. Another reason why you should never jump into these GoFundMe collections. Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna go and play some videos and then we're gonna get into it.
This nigga right here is the definition of it be your own damn kids. Huh? This nigga right here is the definition of it be your own damn kids. This right here is Chris Lewis. Huh? Who is Chris Lewis? He is a father out of Georgia that left his kids in a McDonald's while he went to a job interview. Now, at first, when he came back, he got locked up. The internet was like, wait a minute. He was trying to do better for his kids. Why they locked him up? 1, 6, and 10. That's how old his kids is. Now, let this story boil for a minute because I'm about to make it build up real nice. Pay attention. Walk with me. So, people on the internet crowd together. We say, yo, we got to help this man out. So much so that the homie AB say, yo, we going to start a GoFundMe. I'm going to get this boy money up. They try to raise, I think it was $10,000. Whatever amount of money it was, they got up to $60,000, right? AB said he want to talk to the girl. He want to make sure everything's true. He want to check the story out, right? In the midst of checking the story out, they find out that not only did this nigga lie, this nigga do it all the time. Now, in the midst of this, when he was about to get the money, guess who the person who blew the top off this whole goddamn lie? Which child? The 1-year-old, the 6-year-old, or the 10-year-old? I ain't even gonna give y'all no time. It was the 10-year-old. Of all children in this situation, I would have said 6. The 10-year-old said, God damn it, I'm tired of going to McDonald's and I ain't not getting no goddamn Happy Meal. He do this shit all the time. He ain't been at no goddamn job interview. That nigga don't goddamn work. Sidebar. Parents, teach your kids how to shut up sometimes. Every time I come over your house, I don't need to know that your nigga be knocking you between the washer and the dryer when you go to the back. Your kid trying to be a conversationalist and he don't even know how yet. Moving on. So, he did not get the $60,000, still facing charges, and here goes another black family put in the limelight of the news to show how raggedy some of us can be. I'm just here bringing y'all the news. I'm just a messenger.
Now, with that, I get it's all for comedy. But with that, yes, I do think it's important that if a child is in a bad condition and a bad predicament, which is neglect, yes, you do speak. You do say something like, yeah, I'm living in a filthy house, blah, blah. Let's get social services, get CPS over here. Okay. Yeah, he constantly abandons us. Let me go and investigate this. Yeah, someone touched me. Yeah. Let's go and see what's going on. So I do think it's important. Now, is it sometimes kids can be dramatic, whatnot? Yes, I can understand. Or people just misinterpret things. Yes, I can understand. Heck, I had that experience. I remember I was in middle school and I never really ate breakfast just because I just didn't want to eat breakfast. I was a snacker. So I don't want to eat like the first, it's too early. Like, what am I eating for? But 9 o'clock hits, if I've been up since, 5:50, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock hits. Yeah, I'm pretty hungry, so I'll start snacking. My whole thing, I like my little Ritz crackers, the little 2, 4, 6, 8 pack, and the little small, little slim thing. I used to have that. Cheez-Its, all that kind of stuff. But that was my thing. And then for lunch, I'll pack a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I ate that almost every single day with some chips or, and like some fruit or whatever. But that was my thing. But I know that, I will have issues because I'll feel like kind of sluggish and tired. I'm like, oh, my stomach hurts, my stomach growling and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that we didn't have food in the house. I just never packed it. Or I wasn't eating it yet and I waited too long, and I remember one time I was like, yo, my stomach is, it's hurting. She's like, oh, wouldn't you eat? I was like, well, I didn't eat. And then they're thinking they're not feeding me. And, they called my mom. Then my mom's like, we got food in the house. And then she told me, Alex, don't tell them that you didn't eat. They said, just say that, you have your stuff, you just didn't eat yet because now they're going to think, you know what I mean? So I can understand for something like that, but this is not that. This is a constant, frequent child abandonment issue wherever you're leaving him, whether you're leaving him at the McDonald's constantly, whether you're, hey, go to Nana's house or, whatever. It's supposed to be your day to be watching them and then you just don't. So and this is also something, if y'all are together, the mother and the father, if you two were together, you said it's your girlfriend. I guess, do y'all both not have cards? And you said that you're homeless, but meanwhile you're living in an apartment. Something ain't adding up to me, but whatever, I guess, okay, but let's get into this next video.
He's getting arrested for leaving his kids at McDonald's for a job interview, and then Antonio Brown, the football player, made a GoFundMe and raised about over $67,000 for this man to take care of his family. The man couldn't find childcare. So I'm all about men positivity, but this story takes a wild twist. So listen to this. So he left his 1-year-old, his 6-year-old, and his 10-year-old at McDonald's to go to a job interview. And you're probably thinking, at least this is what I thought, was the job interview at McDonald's? Because then it doesn't, he shouldn't have been arrested. No, it wasn't at McDonald's. It was across the street from McDonald's at like this inn. And then the cameras showed that he left his kids between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. And that the job interview was at 1:30 p.m. So the timeline's already tricky. They went across the street. The cops went across the street to be like, hey, did he have a job interview? He did not have a job interview. He filled out an application. At 1:30 p.m. Then he left. This is the true story. He left to go get his kids from the baby mama, and he was supposed to drop off a backpack at his grandma's house. And so he took the kids from this apartment complex, dropped them off at McDonald's, and then pretty much went back to the same apartment complex. That's what I'm hearing in the reports, that it was in the same vicinity, and it took him 2 hours to drop that backpack off. He came back and was telling the cops he lost his ID. So he was looking for his ID around the time that he had left his children. Now, this is the part that kind of makes me laugh. Not the part that he left his kids, because why would you even do that? Just bring them with you. So the cops start asking the kids, hey, what happened? The 10-year-old's like, he said he was going to go drop off a backpack. He leaves us alone all the time. All the time. The people who called the police they were looking, and they heard him over the phone say, hey, I got to go drop this backpack off, so I'll be right back. And they watched him leave. And so after a while, they were like, okay, I think we're going to call the cops because he hasn't been back. And there's literally a 1-year-old. And daughter, she reaches out to her mom, and then her mom is like, what do you mean? You know, she's like, I'm going to be up there. So she goes up there. It takes her 12 minutes to get there because there's a timeline. There, everything has a clock on it. It takes her 12 minutes to get to McDonald's. And she's telling the police that he did pick those kids up before 4 p.m. And she said that he was supposed to drop a backpack off, but to not leave the kids unattended, to take them with him to drop the backpack off. He didn't listen. He went to McDonald's, dropped them off, then walked back, and still didn't drop the backpack off. What was you doing, my guy? What was you doing? And it's so funny because I was looking at the comments before I went and read the like full report. The comments were like, you know, it's so like this man, he didn't have a babysitter. I know how it is. Like everyone was rooting for him. That was 20 hours ago. This report just came out a couple hours ago. The true report, the timestamps, the videos. I'm so interested to see what these comments are going to be like because y'all was rooting for a man who lied. Y'all were rooting for a man who left his kids at a location where his job interview wasn't. Yep. And again, they're probably thinking like me, the job interview was at McDonald's. So it should have been fine for him to leave his kids right outside. He's homeless, so that's why he did that. He was looking for a job. But you don't leave your kids unattended like that at a different location, especially with a 1-year-old. And your interview you didn't even have an interview. You filled out an application, which you could have brought back across the street if it was at the same time. You could have took that, brought it across the street, and said, hey, y'all come with me.
I've seen this story where this guy got arrested for leaving his kid in a car while he attended a interview. Now, from my understanding of the story, the car was parked outside of the place that he had the interview at, right? Now, I'm not saying he's wrong, but I ain't saying he's right either. But I just wanted to say this is the best I've ever seen, the best story I've ever seen Antonio Brown name in. Every time I see him name, it's always in some bullshit. But I'm actually happy that Antonio Brown decided to facilitate the facilitate this fundraiser, this GoFundMe. And he even said, I'll make sure I'll tell GoFundMe to refund everybody until I verify that this story is right. And he said that he talked to the guy's girlfriend or baby mama, one of them, and he verified that the story was right. They had been homeless since November. So I don't know, kudos to Antonio Brown. It still don't erase all the messed up things he said and how he hurt Keisha Cole. But kudos to Antonio Brown. And I do hope that McDonald's get this man a job because he was trying. It's a lot of people that won't try.
Now that video in particular was obviously before people found out dum 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 that he was lying. Okay, so that's the thing for me. Hey, 100% that's good of what Antonio Brown was doing, but that's the thing about this kind of stuff. You know, you gotta really look and really be like, okay now, because people be lying, people be scamming, and they have no guilt. It's just like, yeah, I did it. So it's like, yo, people over here donating money to you and you over here just lying, you know? And my thing, like I said, I still personally believe that he was at some other lady's house because it doesn't make any sense. And with what the lady was saying with the backpack, which I don't get it, okay? Because I didn't hear, but what she was saying was apparently they're homeless. Now, why are you having all these kids and you're homeless? You should have stopped that kid, the first one, number 10, when you were 14 anyways. But you got that, a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. How long y'all were homeless for? But anyways, so you got all these kids or whatever. Allegedly, you're homeless. I don't know where she was at. They said, oh, it took her 12 minutes. How'd you get here? Did you run? Did you walk? Did you get in the car? You know, because I guess I'm a little confused. Are you working? We don't know. Okay, we just don't know. And apparently, like that lady said that, oh, well, dang, that's $520. Jesus. All right. But apparently that lady was like, oh, well, the backpack needs to be dropped off at the grandma's house or whatever. What's in this backpack? I guess I'm a little confused. What's in this backpack that needs to be dropped off? And dang, neither one of y'all got anybody that could just take the kids. Whatever, y'all may have to fend for yourselves, but no one that could just take the kids so they ain't gotta live on the streets if that's what's going on. I don't know. Somebody lying. Some don't add up to me. Something's not adding up. Because if y'all both homeless, and I don't know if you're working or not. I'm assuming maybe the lady was working, but then again, I don't know. And if you weren't working, why didn't you just have the kids while he went to do the job interview? I don't know, y'all. But I'm just, relaying what it is that I'm seeing. Okay, but let me know what you all think about this down below.